Hey guys, welcome back. So this is now the third visit I've had with Sub 70 Golf. A year ago I came down to Sycamore, Illinois, and I met with Jason and Jay, and I got a full tour of the facility. I got kind of the breakdown of what it is they're looking to do with the brand before they launched. I was able to test out the clubs and see kind of what Sub 70 was going to bring to the golf industry and the golf market from a direct-to-consumer aspect. After my visit, I was so impressed with the clubs, mostly the 699s and how they reacted with my game, that I went back in January, had a fitting with Jason, and I ended up getting my own set of 699s and a 3 hybrid and a 3 wood and even a sand wedge. So I play about 80% sub 70 in my bag. I've been a big fan of what they've been doing, and I've been following along all year. We're here at the Kishwaukee Country Club. We're going to meet with Jason and Jay. We're going to talk about what their first year as a new club company has been like, what they've learned, what they want to do going forward, and most of all, we're going to have a good time. We're going to play a round of golf afterwards. I'm going to put my 699s to the test at the birthplace of Sub 70 Golf, Kishwaukee Country Club. Join me. It's going to be a good time. Let's go. All right, everybody. We are now sitting with Jason Hyland from Sub 70 Golf. With all the success that I've had with my clubs, I wanted to come back down here to the Kishwaukee Country Club, where Jason's a member, and it's also kind of been the testing ground for Sub 70 Golf, kind of the unofficial birthplace of the brand. Correct. So we wanted to come down and see, kind of how the first year in review has been with Sub 70 Golf. So, Jason, my first question for you is, from following the brand all year, I saw that you guys had sold out of the 699s for the first time, I think, by June. How has the success of the 699s been for you guys, and has it surpassed your expectations?
Yes and yes. It's gone over really, really well, and it's so hard to predict on the first year what kind of demand you're going to have, because the company is a little bit different with the direct-to-consumer model, so we really didn't have any history to figure out how much inventory should we have, and then it just sort of spread like a virus, where we got some really good press and a lot of people gave really good reviews, and we just started selling more and more and more of them, and had to adjust inventory orders a little bit. But yeah, it's been our number one selling iron this year, and no changes in it for next year. We don't see any technologies out there that we can really improve upon us, so it's going to be in the full run next year again. And yeah, I would say it was, from a product standpoint, was sort of the catalyst for the growth of that made in quite a few people's hands, and they seem to like the product.
Yeah, and the 699s really fit a large range of handicap. You could be around around a 10 or so, because you have a little bit of workability, and all the way up, I'd say, into the low 20s, and really be able to play that club for a long period of time.
Yeah, and we're going to expand that series out. So we already have the 699 utility, which is the same face technology, but in a utility type club with a wider sole, a little more offset. Right now we have that in a 2 and 3, and we're also going to bring that out into a 4, 5, and 6. And we're going to do combo sets in the 699 with the utility technology. So a little bit more forgiveness than the normal 699. That option will be there, or just some higher launching utility type irons.
Kind of reminds me a little bit of when Adams came out with their Adams ideas. In a sense, makes it a little bit easier to hit for the longer clubs, but you have that workability on the scoring irons to kind of shape it in and out.
Yeah, you can mix and match it, and then from talking to consumers, which we do all the time, it's a really cool part about the direct to consumer model. People wanted that 699 technology, but in kind of like a little more of a player's club. So we're going to have the 699 Pro coming out next year too, which will be same size club, but reduced offset, thinner top line. So same face technology that kind of gives it the go, but a little bit more neutral from an offset standpoint, a little cleaner top line for that better player. So then we're kind of hit a few more segments that we think the 699 can sort of fit in the golf industry.
Nice. I think that's going to fit in nicely with the brand and kind of what you guys have been going. Not to mention that all that guerrilla marketing with social media, with Twitter and Instagram, people kind of tagging you guys in posts. I know I do it, but I know a lot of other folks that I've seen that I've even built friendships with online have done the same thing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
With friendships and meeting people, I've seen from following you guys that there was a PGA Tour Champions player that's played them not only personally but in competition. Yeah. How did that relationship start, and kind of how has it continued to grow?
Yeah, so Mark Calcavecchia has played the 3 wood and 5 wood in the pro fairway wood. And I had Mark on the podcast. He's been on there twice. So we're not, I wouldn't say we're friends, but we're friendly with each other enough to communicate. And then, Mark asked, if we thought it'd be a good club for his game. And we did, and we had his custom made for him. So he wanted a little bit more open. So his are same face technology, but I believe they're 3 degrees open and a little more toe weight. So he doesn't want to hook. Yeah. So the factory hand builds his just for him. For him. Yeah. So you got a major championship and I think 14 wins in the regular.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of talent. A little bit.
You get made exactly what you want made.
So. You mentioned that he plays the pro. What's the difference between the pro model and the regular model that I have?
So the pro is lower spin. It's a little bit of a lower ball flight, so it's more of a mid ball flight. It also is not adjustable. It just sits neutral, so it sits very square. And it's meant to be worked right to left, right to left, left to right, easier than like the 939X. So if you look at the 939X, it's a little longer heel to toe. Okay. And that one's designed to go a little bit straighter, not as workable, kind of a mid-high launch.
Which I've noticed I hit it fairly straight, maybe a little bit of a fade with my swing, but it's not a lot. It's pretty straight for me.
Yeah, one kind of has more game improvement technology, and one's definitely designed for the better player that wants more flight control, a little bit of a flatter ball flight, especially through the wind.
Perfect.
So there's kind of two distinct products for two different types of players. And like I said, the ones we built for Kelk were definitely made for him. Because if I look down at 3 degrees open, it's like, wow, I'm going to fade this thing.
Yeah, I would be putting that thing in every single wooded area to my right.
He gave us the specs, and we built them just for him.
He's not the only name that people know. Did I see that Danny Woodhead, former all-around amazing fantasy football player, running back in the NFL, he recently retired. Did I see that he's actually playing a sub-70 club?
Yeah, he's got the utility irons on the 699. I think he's, last time I talked to him, he was gaming, he put him in play on the 639 CB-MB. He's obviously, first off, he's like the nicest guy in the world.
That's what I've heard of. Every interview I've ever heard with him, he seems like a guy that if he were to never play football, ever, you'd still know him as just a great guy.
Yeah, I get that sense. And he was kind of followed us early, and then we reached out to him and said, hey, if you ever need anything, we'd be happy to help you. And then he gave us the specs, and obviously he's a great athlete. I think he's like a 0 handicap golfer, and he really hasn't started playing seriously since his retirement, but he's uber athletic.
Yeah.
He's out in Nebraska, out in Omaha area. So yeah, we've kind of gotten to be friendly with him. Like I said, text back and forth, and super nice guy. So yeah, he's got him in play out there, and he's happy with the performance. And he gives us the specs that he wants, and we kind of talk a little bit and build the clubs for him.
Danny, if you're ever in the Chicago area, I'm open. My DMs are open. We can talk anytime you want, bud. I've had you on 4 fantasy teams. It's worked out well, but you have been on 4 of them. So we talked earlier that there's been a lot of write-ups for you guys. Besides myself, I've seen Golf Unfiltered, I've seen My Golf Spy, as well as a slew of other media sources. When My Golf Spy voted you guys the best player irons for the 699s, player style irons, best value for the woods, and the hybrids, what has that print done? What is that, award, so to speak? What has that done for you guys?
Well, first off, it's a lot of exposure, and My Golf Spy does a great job of testing the products and giving honest answers out there, and people, I think, really respect that site from the way they conduct it. With us being a new company, I think for them just to even test our stuff built brand credibility in the sense that, okay, they're gonna bring these guys under the tent, and for all the guys that tested the equipment, and puts us at least in the same conversation as the major brands that they think it's worthy enough to test. Then to win a couple of the categories, I think that really helped the brand in the sense that because it's a little bit different, it's consumer direct or direct to consumer, it's different. And then some people, well, what are these guys doing exactly? And, well, the product, because, it's not, we can offer a better value than the traditional way, is it not quite as good? And I think with those awards and the recognition and just the media attention we got from that, I think it's probably helped the brand's credibility in the general public to realize we make a really high quality product and they can compete against anything out there. So for more than anything, it just sort of reinforced kind of what we thought the product would do, but they have such a broad audience and so many people go to them that, it was huge for us this year to have that out there, along with all the other really nice reviews that we've had from, all the other companies that do it. But My Golf Spy one, as much as that goes out to people, that kind of established us on the map, I think, a little bit this year.
Perfect. With your brand, you guys do have a few staffers that have been playing your club. Josh Anderson, he's won 2 individual events this year.
Yeah.
Do you know what's in the future for Josh, and are there any other sub-70 players that you're aware of that are competing with him besides Calc and besides Josh?
Yeah, I mean, Josh is, as far as I understand, he just like all of us, he works for a living. So he's just going to be playing high-end amateur golf, basically in the Illinois or Midwest region. And, he's really talented,
Yeah.
Hell of a college career. He's got that gear. I mean, like, you can tell from watching it. You can either do that or you can't. I can't do it.
There's a different sound with those guys when they hit the ball that's
different level of
not the
talent.
same.
Yep. So he still plays, really high-end amateur golf and does it well. So I think, especially as successful as he's been this year, I think he's got 2 victories.
Yeah, he's got the 2 victories, and I believe he did a T22 in that range for the Illinois Mid-Amateur.
Yeah.
So he's definitely representing the brand well.
Yeah, and he's a great guy. I think he's going to just continue what he's doing. There's a PGA Tour player who is testing a set of irons for us for next year. I can't say really who it is because we're not paying him or anything like that.
Not paying him, we're not under a contract.
No,
But it's making its way up to the highest level.
Yeah.
There's somebody who has interest that says, I want to try this.
I want to try them, and there's no obligation, of course. So we're getting that's out there a little bit. I know Tim Mercer, who's a golf professional from Chicago, great guy. I think he's just started gaming. He's been playing with them all summer, but for those guys at that level, they don't put him a lot of times right away. They got to transition the clubs in. I know he's been playing them a little bit. Then there's also some other guys just sort of in social media that we'll kind of work with who like the brand, and if they can kind of bring us to a different audience of their followers and stuff, hopefully we can expand that out as well.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say enough good things about it. There's a reason that we've now met 3 separate times. You guys have me pulled in. I've had my choice to go to any OAM, and I chose to buy local, and not only that, to get the most bang for my buck.
Well, thank you.
So, thank you for making the brand. With my enjoyment of the product and all the social media publications you've gotten and whatnot, your guys' website has actually gone under a recent redesign. Was that redesign done out of necessity, or was that planned from the beginning? How did that come about?
I think once we started growing and wanting we now had a story to kind of tell. The old website was functional, but it was harder to tell that story. So this summer we started looking at as we could kind of I get a little bit more brand identity and explain what we're doing probably a little easier with some better website technology. We decided it was time to kind of do a reskin. So the guts of it are still the same, the way the club's ordered, but the way you kind of come into it, hopefully the look it has and makes it probably easier for people to get some information about us and make that process probably a little more streamlined than the first website that we had. So it's just sort of an upgrade to kind of our first generation of it, and hopefully it'll be good for a little bit, but that technology is always changing, so it's never ending.
Have there been any tweaks to the online fitting profile, or is it still pretty much the same?
That's worked fine. Yeah, it's just more or less, when people can come to the website who might not be as familiar with the story, can they kind of grasp what we're about and what we're doing a little bit easier with sort of the goal. And we have some good friends who, they do that for a living and kind of gave us some advice and kind of went and built it ourselves, and it's kind of up there. But I think it's...
it looks great. It's very easy to navigate. And if you go to the news section, there's a really good looking dude right on the front page.
I think you're in the media section, right?
I'm in the media or in the news or whatnot. So it's a solid video. You might want to check that out if this is your first video. So since I've been playing it all year, my personal experience is I've had a lot of people have seen the club, the 699s particularly, since that's why I play. They've caught their eye and they've asked to see, and they kind of wonder, what is that? Have you seen, besides the Kishwaukee Country Club where we're at right now, have you seen anybody playing the sub-70s outside in your own personal play? Have you had that experience yet?
I have but I'm a member out there. So I'm also a member at Dismal River Club in Nebraska. So it's kind of weird to go out, drive 11 hours to a different club and there's people playing your brand. Yeah, like out there. I don't play a ton of golf outside of Kishwaukee Country Club we're at today. I've been really busy. I've got 2 small kids, multiple golf businesses. So a lot of times if I just have free time, cruise out to Kish.
where you can pop on the tee sheet and play a quick 4 or 5 holes at whatever.
Exactly, 6, 9 holes. Now out here we got all kinds of, there's all kinds of people playing them. I know some of our brand ambassadors have, Doug who's a golf professional down in, Doug Mach at Jupiter, Florida, has been out teaching lessons, and like looks down the driving range, there's somebody with a sub 70 bag, and he's like, hey, I represent those guys, or I'm a brand ambassador. So like a little bit of it, but if I had more time to play golf all over Chicagoland, I probably would see them a little bit more, but I've been really busy this year. So at a Kish, there's a lot of them, and like I said, out at Nebraska, some of the other members out there kind of caught on, but I can't think of another course that I just kind of randomly went to, and it's like, there's our stuff. But hopefully as we keep growing.
Well, hopefully Club Sub keeps growing. I like to call it a Club Sub. Every time you see somebody, kind of join the online social media family of the brand, it's, those follows hit back and forth. So Club Sub's growing. So what has happened this year for the brand that you've never expected? Your tagline is expectations redefined. Was there something that happened that redefined your own expectations?
It's pretty cool when one of your heroes growing up, Mark Helkavecchia, asks you to build clubs for him. I mean, I don't think I would have bet on that one, because we don't ask the guys. We don't want to be pushy like that, especially guys we have relationships with. So that was pretty surreal when somebody you grew up, like as one of your golf heroes, you mean a great player of his generation, like borderline Hall of Famer, asks you, hey, can you build clubs?
I'd say he's definitely a Hall of Famer. It's just a matter of when he gets in.
Yeah, I mean, it's right there. The resume speaks for itself. That's a pretty cool experience. Love to have that moment where you kind of like, holy cow, we're building clubs for Calc. Didn't expect that one. I didn't expect the amount of growth we had in the first year. And also, that was cool too, just to see how many happy customers we have. Like, it's the most important thing to us is, are they playing well with the clubs, and are people enjoying them? And if they're not, we're going to step up and take care of it. Also, I think the biggest thing on top of just, the honor of building some clubs with some really good players, which truly is an honor, like I didn't expect it, is people understanding easier than I thought of what we're doing. Because the model is different with the direct-to-consumer, so I thought it might be a little harder to explain of, this is why we're thinking this, or this is why we're doing it. And I think there's just so many other brands outside of golf.
It's very normal
now, right?
It's so not in your face, but everything's direct-to-consumer. I mean, we live in an Amazon world now. If you go to the store and find something, you go on your phone and say, can I get this on Amazon cheaper because it's just as good? People are used to going online and just buying something, and you guys make the return so easy. Not that you have to deal with that many returns. It makes sense that it's taken off so well. They
need to know, so if somebody doesn't know us, right? I mean, we want that 60-day money-back return. We haven't had that many, But if they got to have that level of comfortability, because they're trusting us to build a club. They may have not exactly swung. We'll work with them and consult with them and make sure we do as good as we can. But we want to make sure if somebody has a product they're not happy with, you call us personally. We either try to solve fixing it first, but if you're still not happy, we don't want you to keep it. We'd rather have you give your money back, bring the clubs back, and then we learn from those situations as well, right? So the really great part about that direct-to-consumer loop is we are talking to people all the time, where if we had a distributor or distributors, I might not be talking to the end customer. So I'm getting these great ideas and feedback on our products, and I'm talking to the actual customers. And that's been, really beneficial. So there's all kinds of stuff that, as we started this kind of half crazy idea, that I didn't know kind of what to expect. And I would say those are the main things of, kind of looking back almost at year one of what's kind of surprised us. Most surprise has been to the good. So.
That's great. Well, there's been so much success, obviously, with the 699s. We talked about it earlier. What's next for Sub 70 going forward next year, 5-year, 10-year, and is there a lefty 699 coming in the future?
I would say yes. It's a very, very expensive club to have the molds made for. Really expensive. So you got to have enough business to justify from a business standpoint. I would say my goal would be 2021. We should definitely start having some left-handed products if we keep growing the way we're growing. I don't have a 5-year plan. I don't have a 10-year plan. We're going to do 2020. See if we can get 1
year at a time.
Yeah, and then kind of evaluate that year like we're doing this fall for this season of how we can improve and grow for next year. I think think there's a lot of room for growth. It's really exciting. Like I said, we're doing, more than we thought we'd ever do in year one, which is great. And it's been a labor of love. It's the most fun of any golf club company I've owned. It's a blast because you're building Ferraris. That's the fun part too, that you're building. There's no limit of what we'll try to do to make the product as good as we can make it. So that's been fun. Next year, like I said, 699 Pros, more on the 699 utility. May start working on a new driver that the current one is really good, but it's definitely more workable. Mm-hmm. It's made for a little bit better player. So it's got a little higher center of gravity. MOI is not as high on purpose as some other models because we want it to be more workable. It's more traditional shape. So we might try to start working on a little bit more of a draw biased, higher MOI, center of gravity lower for that player that needs that too. And if you look at a lot of golf companies, there's a reason they have two styles of drivers. Initially, we wanted it for the better player, just to kind of introduce it to the brand. So we probably will start working on that next year. And then I know Jeff Bushnell is our master club builder. He's going to be coming out with a Bushnell Tour series of wedges. So it's going to be aimed at the little higher end player, a little more heel relief, more dual purpose, a little lower bounce when you open it up. He's basically kind of designing something for Jeff's a great player. Yeah. And he's going to kind of he's in the Skunk Works all summer of designing some stuff that he would play at his level of play. And so we're going to have the same wedge we're going to keep that we have, which fits more people, a little bit more forgiveness in the rounded sole. And Jeff's going to have more of a dual purpose, a little bit more options if you lay it open where the bounce comes off and sits tight. So we're going to have
for those players that have that higher skill set.
Yeah.
That's the Bushnell Tour series.
Yeah, that'll be that for next year. We're going to keep always, so we're kind of probably in time going to have 2 series of wedges.
Okay.
One which will fit most people, a little bit more forgiveness to it, and then we're going to let Jeff kind of design stuff that he wants to do.
That's great.
And so that should be out next year too. So that's kind of where we're at. The forged irons, no changes to those. We may be working on one more forged iron that might kind of fall in between like the 639 CB and MB.
Okay.
But that's still in the prototyping stage. I don't have a hard release date on that thing at all. So we're still kind of always experimenting, but we're not going to be on a tight time frame for product releases.
That's really been your guys' model from the beginning. Is there isn't set timelines. Let's get it right to what we would want to buy and what we want to play. So let's do the best we can and get it to where we want it. Then we'll go from there.
Yeah, or like take the 699. If we can't find materials that make it better, let's say it's 2 years old, and at the 2-year mark coming up, we're working with the engineers overseas. Does anyone have any ideas? And if we can't see a true improvement, and I don't mean 1/4, 1/10, or 1%. I mean enough where I'm comfortable.
There's a jump,
and then I'm comfortable selling it. Then we'll do it. And if not, that iron might be out for 3 years. I will not just do it to do it because marketing would tell me at the 2-year mark I need to redo it. We're just not going to operate that way. So we're not on a tight time frame, nor will we be. We will have new products as, like, for example, on the 699 Pro, where we're getting feedback where, hey, we would love the space technology, but with less offset for the better player. Sure, there's a niche we don't have filled. But we will not just introduce something just to say we have something new.
Love it. Well, all that being said, let's go outside. It's a beautiful day of fall golf. You can see that the leaves are changing. It's about 55 degrees with a slight breeze. Quarter zips are on. Let's go play.
Let's go do it.
All right, guys, that is a wrap from Kishwaukee National. Jason, thanks so much for having me out today.
Anytime.
It's been a good time playing at the birthplace of Sub 70 Golf. Greens are a lot faster than I expected them to be for a fall day, but we poked it around out here, had a good time. Thanks for having me out.
No one won sub 70 though, Ed, today.
No
sub 70.
No, I was sub 70 by like the 14th hole, but that was about it.
We had fun though.
It was a good time. Don't forget to check out Sub 70 Golf and the new redesigned website. Keep grinding, everybody.
Had fun. See you guys.